Hey, Conscious Habit listeners. My goal is to help support you on your journey of discovering how to live from your highest and most fulfilled self at home and at work. And in that vein, I have some thoughts I'd like to share with you today. So meditate on this. You know that Mike Tyson saying that everybody has a plan till they get punched in the mouth? Oof. It's so easy for all of us to be the best versions of ourselves when life is going according to plan, or at least when life is acting in a way that we enjoy, that we appreciate, that we like. But we are really tested to be truly conscious humans in the face of adversity, in the face of frustration, even in the face of inconvenience. So recently, I had a chance to put all of this to the test. I was traveling with a client, and on my way home, I was going to be stranded at the airport. I am a Delta loyalist. And if anybody else is a Delta loyalist, you know that Delta lives and breathes out of Atlanta. And at the time, Atlanta was having snow and ice. And so all airports that relied on pilots and planes coming from Atlanta, they weren't able to do anything with their flights. The Delta terminal in Orlando was basically at a standstill. And you could tell by the hundreds, I know there were thousands of people shoulder to shoulder in that airport. And let me tell you, I had a chance to just pay attention and people watch and kind of notice what was happening. And, you saw some people who were just kind of rolling their eyes and they were annoyed, ugh, this isn't what we want to have happen. There were other people who were outright abusive towards the Delta employees and just rude towards other people, trying to cut in line, kind of pushing, shoving, giving attitude. And as I'm people watching, I get the notification on my phone that my flight is going to be delayed. Up until that point, I thought, you know what? Smooth sailing, baby. We are moving well. All these other flights are getting canceled, but not mine. Mine is on time. And literally 5 minutes before our boarding time, we get that alert that says, hey, your flight's delayed. Instead of taking off at 5:30, you're taking off at 7:30, which for me meant I was going to miss my connecting flight. And that connecting flight was out of Detroit because I thought I was I felt so proud of myself. The day before, I had moved my flight that I could avoid Atlanta, but I seemingly forgot that all things are connected. Funny, since I constantly teach this in the world, right? So my flight is delayed. I'm going to miss my flight. And then suddenly, me and everyone around me is flocking to the Delta counter. I can tell you I started to feel a little panicked, a little frustrated, like oh no, what am I going to do? I had a plan and I got punched in the face. I'm not going to make it home for my son's basketball game. What about tomorrow? Am I going to make it home tomorrow? I start going through all of the things. Oh my gosh, we're supposed to have a vision board with our high vibe tribe. Are we going to have to cancel that? What's going to happen? And I could feel myself getting a bit out of sorts in my body. And I want to just walk you through the process that I ended up going through to help remain conscious in that moment. And in prior episodes, I've talked about this space between reaction and response. Reaction is our human nature. It is that hardwiring. We often cannot stop it, but what we can do is be more conscious, create space between the reaction and the response. And that's where true consciousness lives. So in the face of inconvenience, I just simply started to notice what is happening in my body right now. My heart is pounding. I'm feeling impatient. Okay. I took a few deep breaths to help regulate my nervous system that was going a little haywire. And then I asked myself, who do I want to be in this moment? The reaction was worry, frustration, impatience. But by asking myself, who do I want to be in this moment, I got to choose a more thoughtful response. And the truth is, I wanted to be the calmest person in that line. I didn't want to be these other people losing their damn minds. I wanted to be the kindest person to that Delta agent who I knew was having a really rough day. Because even in that moment, I could recognize that whether I choose to be a kind human in this moment or I choose to be outraged and frustrated, the result is still the result. I cannot get those pilots from Atlanta to my gate in Orlando and fly that little plane so my happy ass can get home at a time that I prefer. I can't control that, but I can control who I choose to be in this moment. And so, with that deep breath, I decided to just stand there with a little bit of a smile on my face, reminding myself it's okay. I don't know when I'm going to get home, but I will eventually. And when I made it up to that gate, I smiled at the gate agent and I said, "Thank you. Hey, really appreciate all of the hard work. This must be a tough day for you." And she agreed, "Yes, it's been a tough day." And we worked through the options that I had together. And I'll be honest with you, none of those options worked. Not a one. But I still, fortunately, took a deep breath and left my cool because the options are the options. And so in the end, kind of fast forward, I ended up canceling my Delta flight. I was able to find a direct flight home on another airline that left a little bit later that night. I was able to get home the same night. Who knew? Like, what a shock and what a surprise. But I felt so proud that I was able to remain conscious. This is not me on my high horse, by the way, guys, saying like, I am conscious all the time, no matter what. That is absolutely not true. But I do know that this process works. When you feel like you've been metaphorically, let's hope, punched in the face, can you notice what is happening in your body before you make the reaction? Before the mouth opens, notice what's happening in the body and decide who you would rather be in that moment. And then lean into that, become that person, embody that spirit of the human you desire to be and the impact you want to make. Because I could have made that gate agent's day worse. And I had a moment, I probably didn't make it a whole lot better, but I can safely say, I don't think that I made it any worse. And in the end, the situation was the situation. How I felt about it was completely up to me. And if we can do this collectively, one incident, one inconvenience, one interaction at a time, if we can choose a more conscious response, I am telling you, please do not underestimate the power that you have to make this world a more loving, peaceful, and conscious place simply by how you choose to show up, both in your body and outside of you.